Welcome to Cat TV. Today we have Hercules and Hollis here, and my name is Kate Gardner, and I am the regional puppy instructor for Guiding Eyes for the Blind. And we have Sue Altland over here, who is one of our puppy raisers, and Tammy with Hollis. And today's a special show for you guys because Hercules and Hollis will be heading off to attend college, which is their next phase in their training and path to becoming a guide dog. So Hercules will leave us in the middle of July, and Hollis will leave us in the middle of August. So Sue, do you have any last adventures for the last month that you have Hercules?
The last month, we're actually heading to a baseball game over in Albany with the puppy raisers over in Capital District. So somebody donated tickets and food, and we're going to tailgate and meet a bunch of the other puppies. So it's one of our adventures. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of stick to our usual routines. We also started visiting the hospitals. We're going to CLR tonight to visit the residents there. So Tammy and I have done a couple outings over the past couple months. And we have, come here, you. We have gone to a couple of schools. We went over to Sacred Heart and spent the morning, a couple days just talking to the kids, introducing them to the guide dogs, and teaching them about the process of becoming a guide dog. We also went to Highland Hall, which was a lot of fun. Again, just talking to them about the process of puppy raising, as well as again, what it takes to be a guide dog.
Thanks. So, Tammy, have you thought about any last adventures with Hollis?
Well, we just got back from a few days at Squam Lake, and she loves to swim. I had her on the long line, and I had to pull her out of the water. Like, she would have swam, I think, all day. So she definitely loves to swim. And we'll be going to the baseball game, and then just working a lot on those basic commands. So, yeah.
That's great. So now that these guys have what we call an IFT date, which is their in for training date, it means that they have passed pretty much everything what we can do on the puppy side of things, and then they will go back and complete a temperament test, which exposes them to noise, different underfooting surfaces. They'll put the harness on to see if they're able to stand the little bit of weight that's on the harness. We will also do some noise distraction down at the temperament test. And if all goes well with that, they will be considered in for training. And that part of their next step is broken down into 4 different phases of training, with the first step being taught the target stick. So it's literally a long, thin stick with a buoy type ball at the end. And the dogs are taught to target that with their nose, and also what the clicker means, which always means a cookie is coming. So the dogs really get to know what the clicker is for and how to target things, because later on in their training, they will be taught to target handrails, the top and bottom of stairs, chairs, as well as doorknobs for their person. So in phase 1, they do that, as well as teaching them to lead out into harness, because the dogs will be taught the forward command. So they are learning to guide and pull into that harness. And then in phase 2-ish, they're taught pretty much to travel a straight line down the sidewalk, as well as beginning clearances, moving left and right. They have to learn that they're not a single unit anymore. They have somebody attached to them alongside them, so that now they become a double wide, and they have to accommodate for that width as well. And also their curb approaches. So the dogs are taught to stop at all up curbs as well as all down curbs, so that their handler can read their traffic, and if they hear anything coming, they know not to tell their dog the forward command, and that they will wait until all is clear. In phase 3, they move on to a busier environment, which is typically down in White Plains, New York. And once again, they're solidifying those first 2 phases, but then in that busier city, they have a lot more pedestrians, bigger, wider sidewalks, more clearances, a lot more distractions, birds, dogs. They call it Pigeon Alley down there, where all the pigeons know the dogs are coming, and the trainers feed the pigeons dog treats to get them to come. So it's a great distraction for the dogs to have to learn to work in that type of environment.
I didn't know
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Hollis does love birds, so
They'll work with her. Don't worry, Tammy. In phase 4, they will have traffic training, which is, teaching them that they should not go if their handler tells them forward. So that's called intelligent disobedience.
How do they teach them that?
So they teach that through some positive reinforcement. When a car is coming in their path, their trainer will tell them forward. And if they don't go, then they heavily reward them. And then hopefully the dog will learn to keep a nice, safe buffer. And if they don't, they get a lot of repetitions, making sure that they can definitely give the nice, solid response or even back up slightly if the car is too close. Yep. They will also travel on a city bus, the subway. They will make a trip down to New York City to see if they like working in the city environment. Some dogs prefer the city. Some dogs do not prefer the city, just like people. Some people love and thrive in that busy environment, where some dogs are more suited for like a nice quiet country or kind of like a middle of the road type city. And in that final phase of training, the dogs will undergo a final blindfold evaluation with their trainer. So their trainer is blindfolded, and the dogs and their handler will go out on a route with a spotter, and they are expected to do everything that they would as if their handler was actually blind. So that is a great indication if the dog is then class ready to go on and be matched with an actual client. Once they are deemed class ready, they will then be put on a list, and they get mapped for their GPS pace, as well as if they prefer to work in the city or a country setting or a quiet city, as well as does the graduate need a calmer dog because they might have young kids at home or other pets. So all of that is taken into consideration, and then the trainers will look at which dogs are available in that pace range, their type of environment preference, and then make a match. Once a match is made, the trainers come in to Guiding Eyes for about 10 days to meet the dog, work with the trainers on campus, and if they're unable to come in, we also have a home training program where the dogs are brought to our clients and trained right in their home environment for about a couple weeks. And then after that, we have a graduation, and if any of you would like to view a graduation, you can find them on YouTube. They're all listed there, and it's a very heartwarming, touching ceremony. The grads are so thankful to the puppy raisers for doing this, because without our puppy raisers and our sitters that are helping along the way, we really wouldn't be able to do it without them, giving them that great foundation and helping them become that guide dog later down the road.
Good job.
Have you heard from any of your graduates recently, Sue?
We've become friends on Facebook, so that's how we sort of keep track of how they're doing, or what they're doing. I know one of our dogs is probably getting ready to retire soon, so the young woman that has him got him when she was 16. So before they get the dog, they have to be proficient with a cane, and they also have to be at least 16 still.
Still, yep, right around 16.
Responsible for the dog. So there are certain things that they want the dogs to, be taken care of when they go to the person. So the person has to be able to walk them and care for them. She has, he's getting ready. So he's gone to high school, he's gone to college, he got his master's, and getting his PhD right now. So it's pretty neat to see, this crazy dog that we had from, 8 weeks old to now getting ready to retire. So he's probably getting close to 9. So that's about the age.
Yeah, usually, 8 to 10 is the average, yeah.
So typically, I guess, Kate, question for you is what is a reason that a dog would retire?
It could be a few reasons. It could be health reason. Maybe the dog is getting some arthritis, or just not keeping its pace that it normally would travel at, and also it's maybe just getting tired. These dogs work very hard, so when that happens and the handler is nearing retirement age for their dog, they can apply to Guiding Eyes again and get a successor dog and start all over with a youngin. So it's a full roller coaster of emotions when that happens, and a lot of times the grads will keep them in retirement. I don't know if
I would think she would.
Yeah.
I can't imagine she wouldn't.
Yeah. So then that dog will stay home as her pet, and then the new guide dog would come in and be her eyes and help her get around. And then the other option, if some grads don't decide to keep their retired dog, is that sometimes they ask puppy raisers to take them back. So there's always that chance that you might see your dog again in retirement years.
Right.
So that person whose dog graduates, because I know there's a waiting list of like 2 years. If they've had a dog with Guiding Eyes, do they go to the top of the list, or is
Not
there?
necessarily.
So is there a lag a time where she might not have a dog that
There
works?
could be. There could be.
They'll just keep working that dog until they get one.
If the dog is still healthy and able to work, it'll still work. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean because the dog is 8 that it's time to retire.
Right.
But a lot of times our graduates will start reapplying so that they don't have that lapse in
Okay.
between dogs.
And is it 2 years?
It's about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you know, like, does Guiding Eyes advise them? Like,
They do.
like
they
your
check-
dog is 7 and a half, you should start thinking about
Yeah, like
applying.
how's your dog doing? And we have our
Okay.
field reps too that keep an eye on.
They do, even that many years later.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
they do.
That's amazing.
How often do they check in with the dog?
Usually like 2 to 3 years. But if any problem comes up before then, the graduate we have a hotline. They could call in with any questions, or if they're having an issue, one of the field reps could go and see them and try to work through that. So we always have like tabs on our graduates to see how things are going
Okay.
and make sure things are still going smoothly with them as a partnership.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was just the first year, but
No,
it's their entire.
Their entire
that is-
their
that is
entire working
amazing.
career. Yeah.
Wow.
I guess my question too is interview Kate. So when I get my if I was visually impaired and I get my guide dog, and I work in a school, so would they map the school with the dog? How do they teach the dog where the bathroom is, where the water
So it's up to the visually impaired person to know those destinations,
Okay.
and then she can transfer that to her dog by using like the clicker to target the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah, and target like her classroom.
So someone would have to go with her.
They could, and
maybe?
map it out. Yep, same thing like with some of our college students where like they have an idea of the campus, but now it's how do I train my dog
Right.
to do that as well. So that's where our field reps come in handy, and our trainers that are out in the field working with our clients.
Because I know our last dog went to a gentleman at the University of Buffalo, and it seems like he really wanted the dog for work, like to get around campus.
Mhm. Yes.
So they went out and worked with the dog and Chris, and they would have mapped the campus with him.
Yep, and they can like pinpoint destinations. Using that clicker and targeting is really helpful and a great tool for them to be able to use. They can target buildings, but definitely navigating is always going to be the handler's responsibility, because the handler's giving the dog the directions of turn left here or go forward to the next curb. So it's up to them to have an idea of where they're at.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I know, all
It's
these
always
little
amazing to
pieces.
think, like, take me to the next curb. And
Mhm.
Yep. So like a lot of times, like city travel, the handler will count their blocks until they
Right.
know that they have to turn left, and then they turn left. Oh, I have to go 3 more blocks, and then I have to go right to the coffee shop. So they have to have an idea in their head already mapped out of where that destination is.
Right, so they can't be head in the clouds. They have to be
Right.
listening and watching, and
Yeah.
not watching, but really being on top of where I'm going and focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hoping this is intelligent disobedience.
We like a dog with a mind of their own.
Oh.
No worries, Tammy.
As you can see, their
She's
personalities have
strong-willed.
not changed. She really is improved.
She has greatly.
But
She has.
here, I think.
Well, she sees something very interesting off in the distance.
Yes.
So, not Tammy, Sue really likes to overlap puppies. So she likes to bring in the next puppy to raise while she still has the older dog in the house. So Sue got her next puppy last Wednesday, and he's a little black lab named Owen. So we will bring him out and introduce him to everybody.
I'm just gonna say I'm not. Here we go. Good girl. I know. Good job, Olive. Yes. Yes, Olive.
So this is Owen. He is a black lab. His date of birth is April 4th. So he's just about 9 weeks. And he is going to be Sue's next raise. And the cool thing about Owen is that he is what we call a special name puppy. So people can donate to Guiding Eyes to special name a dog, and it could be for any particular reason. But Owen's name came from a lady's great-grandson. His name was Owen, and she wanted to name a puppy in honor of him. So that's where this little guy gets his name from. And along the way, the donor will receive updates, usually about 4 months, 10 months, and then right again before they go back for IFT. They get pictures and just a little update on how they're doing and keep them in the loop of their training. And then they also get updates once they're back in training as well. So it's nice for the donor to receive some updates on what their puppy's up to. So
We had another puppy, Harry, who was specially named. And so we did do the updates. We sent her pictures, and then she actually went to graduation, and we got to
Oh, you
meet
got to
her.
meet the
It was
donor.
really heartwarming to meet her, and she was just so thrilled to meet Harry, and she was just lovely. She had named the puppy after her husband, who had just passed away because of cancer. So, like I said, it was really neat. She was from New York City, and so yeah, I thought it was really special. And then to hear that he was specially named was also, so we did, we made her a little puppy book of him growing up, and then a picture of the graduate and Harry. So that was pretty special.
And it's great because our donors' money goes right back into Guiding Eyes to help support the puppies on program, vet expenses, training expenses, and our grads get these wonderful dogs at no cost at all to them. So it's a great way to give back and also be part of puppy raising.
Good girl.
And speaking of puppy raising, we could still use some puppy raisers. If you're interested, we have a whole website, www.guidingeyes.org, where you can find out a ton of information about puppy raising or puppy sitting, which is supporting the raisers when they need a break or go on vacation. And we have a lot of these little guys and girls back down at Yorktown Heights and Guiding Eyes that need a raiser. So if you're interested, please reach out and we would be happy to get you a puppy.
And we have class right here in Bennington, which is wonderful. So we have class every other week, and we're right here in Bennington. And like I said earlier, we're going to CLR tonight. One of our puppies has been going to CLR with her raiser, and they've been visiting the residents, which has been really a lovely experience for both the residents and the puppy. So.
Yeah, another great place where they have to, put their manners into effect and be polite with their residents, and the residents, are so happy to see our puppies. If you ever want to come check out a class too, we usually have class, like Sue said, right down here in Bennington at the Sacred Heart Church, or you might find us out in the community doing an outing.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.